Finally, this motherfucker has given us an update.
How's it going? That is a messy workbench. We're going to do a bit of an update, just a walk around and explain what's happening and what's been happening and what's in the future. And we'll start here at the pulp mill area. Down the far end here, on the end of the line, we're going to have a log yard and basically a export log operation. So there'll be water on the front and there'll be 2 tracks with a overhead crane, and there'll be another line at the back which is the tail end of the rotary dumper. That's going in this hole right here. I haven't decided if I'm going to automate this dumper. I've done them in the past. They can be quite fiddly and problematic, and also I don't plan on running rotary couplers. The last time I did this I was running coal trains and it was quite easy just to run the whole train through, so probably not. If I do, it'll be a simple forward reverse stop arrangement with a double pole double throw switch. The last one had sensors and was automated and had infrared sensors that would detect the gap between the cars and then just start tipping the car when it was in position. Also, it's probably going to be a little while before I get to this. I haven't really got the lay of the land for the buildings as such. I know where I want a couple of them, obviously, but the rest of them were not quite there yet. From this end of the pulp mill area, right in the front here, we've got what will be the tank farm, and behind it against the back wall will be the finishing mill for paper, where the paper is loaded out. There's roughly going to be 30 odd feet of track and about 8 turnouts in this area. So there's quite a bit to do. Also started making the trees. Basically just a wooden dowel with all the holes drilled through, and then I use garden tie wire through them. Then they get a coat of black paint and then some turf thrown over the black paint while it's still wet. After that we'll get 12mm static grass on the branches, and then it'll get painted brown, reddish brown, and then it'll get the final final layers of static grass over that. Moving around, been starting to add ground cover over the plaster work. This is just sifted fine material. Moving around, we've got this bit over the back here, just gearing up to do that bit. I have to actually, the plan was to have this board where the estuary is removable, but then I came to the realization that even if it was the last thing to go back in, I still couldn't quite reach around the back edge to the scenery of the water. So it's been put in permanently, and it now has legs under it to support my weight so I can stand up on it, and I'll just finish the whole back end, the back side of it. In between glue drying, I've started making the bridge, the girders and everything for the trestle across the estuary. This area here you've probably seen pictures of already on the internet. It's far from complete, but it is over halfway complete. These white areas, these lines here, these are going to be quartz veins when they're cut in properly. At the moment they're protruding, but I'll take to them with a knife eventually and cut them right in deep so they look recessed as well. This originally was where the tinfoil was joined when we did the wet plaster work, so I thought I'd give that a try because otherwise it looks pretty plain when it's just grey. The brown areas further down in this area, that's gave a lot more weeds and grasses and rocks and small trees growing up it as well. So, and also this area over here where the strata of the rock changes. Side of the peninsula now. This area here was going to be a small quarry operation, and it still will be, just it's going to change a bit from what I originally had planned. So essentially that's what's going to happen here. We're not going to have permanent structures here. It'll be mobile jaw crusher, mobile cone crusher, and the freight, all the hopper cars will be loaded by front end loaders. So there'll be a small road that comes down from the left into the pit below. Still going to do a lot of work in this area, rock wise, and we'll have a couple of benches, and then it'll be carted up by a dump truck to stockpiles behind the hopper cars there on the flat area, and then they'll be loaded by front end. Area right in front of the camera here where my hand is, I originally allocated this spot for my grain elevator that usually resides on my Fremo modules. Otherwise it just sits in the box for all but 4 days of a year, and unfortunately it's probably going to do that again because I've decided that this will be a reload for wood chip and logs for the pulp mill and for export. So this track will get extended out, and there'll be a loading bank for wood chip, and log cars will go in here. The whole peninsula down the centre is a ridge, and the plan is, instead of having a backdrop, a solid backdrop to divide either side, there's going to be stands of mature redwood right through the middle, so to provide a visual block between one side and the other. This is the top Y, that to the yard is off to the left, the peninsula to the right, and the other big grade off to the centre. The area in here, the hill to the right will be mature redwood, the hill to the left will be recut stands, so 30-year growth of harvested trees. And in the middle there, I'm probably just going to have like a lay down yard for the railroad with bits of rail, sleepers, the odd bit of machinery, maybe a shack or something like that. The track to the bottom right of the camera is the tail end of the reload yard. For those of you guys who haven't seen this before, this is one section of my Fremo yard. It's 6 yard tracks, a runaround track, and the 2 main lines double track, and it uses MGP stationary decoders to operate all the turnouts. You can program them individually to switch turnouts by pressing a button, or you can also have routes. These turnouts are all routed, so it switches every turnout it needs to get to that line, just like that, and the LEDs light up the other end of the yard. This end's a bit more complicated. We have crossovers, double slips, as well as 2 sidings which are switched off by the frog juicer, so we can park locomotives on there. The reason we do that at Fremo is so you're not with locomotives just sitting idling, not draining power on the system. So you can still operate individual turnouts, or you can do the routes as well. And for new operators or new users who aren't familiar with it, when you're approaching on the main line and the LEDs are pointing in all which directions, we have a button here that just resets everything for the main line so it goes straight through. Otherwise, for example, if you want to get from here to this track here, you just press this button and it lines up everything ready to go. The panel is made from 3mm MDF, and it's got a 3mm hole drilled for each LED and a 4mm hole drilled for the press button switches behind each one of these numbers. And then the overlay is a laminated sheet with holes punched for the LEDs to show through, and obviously the numbers line up with the switches on the MDF behind. A few other projects I've got going on at the moment. These are my son's locomotives, these two Rock Island locomotives. One on the right is a Mississippi Delta GP15, and the one to the left was originally a Chicago Rock Island Pacific locomotive that's currently being rebuilt to match the Mississippi Delta model. My son's not old enough to know what the Rock Island was, but he knows what the Mississippi Delta Railroad is, so that's his thing, along with all the Rock Island cars in the back there. So it's currently in the process of having ditch lights fitted up, and it's got a modified GP40 dynamic brake hatch, because the Mississippi Delta Railroad's one is not a standard GP38 dynamic brakes. We'll have to scrub off all the weathering, so that's not an issue. It's got different chassis under it now, and we've also got to paint the air tanks black as well as a few other things, bits and pieces. Behind that, my scratch built wood chip hoppers or wood chip gondolas, based off the SP smooth side ones. Not quite the same, but they'll do the job for me. And then further behind that, also the scratch built log cars, 65-foot log cars that I made. Project that I've going on that I skipped over before is a Jordan spreader. I've built about 5 of these now. The last one I built was all lit and had servos that swung the wings out and everything. I'm not going that far with this one. This one's going to be more for a static display. It'll move, it'll roll down the railway line, but it's not going to actually be moving and lit like the last one was. I do have a picture of the other one somewhere. I mean, I'm building it so the wings do move, but this one will not be motorized like the last one that I made. Still got a bit to do on it. A lot of detail, a lot of hydraulic hoses and things to go on, and painting. I'm not even sure what colour I'm going to paint this one yet.